Hey everybody, Leroy from NoiseGate. Now, a question I get asked quite a lot is how to sync your synthesizers with Ableton Live. This is a really useful thing to do, especially when it comes to recording, to make sure that your synth plays in time with your track. Now, I also have a Midi keyboard here, and the reason for that is I want to be able to play the sounds from my synthesizer using a Midi keyboard. Now, I'm using the Volca FM2 here. This is a amazing little synth, but it has a very untraditional key bed. So this is why the keys from my Midi controller are going to come in really handy later in the video. So, how do we sync all this up? First of all, we need to show what we are going to need. In this instance, I'm using the synth. This is what you'll first start with. The next thing you're going to need is a audio interface. In this instance, I'm using the Volt 276. Now this has MIDI input and MIDI output. This is essential for what we're trying to do here. And it will also capture the audio from the synth. Next up, you'll need a MIDI cable. So this is a standard 5-pin MIDI cable. Now the Volca FM needs a particular adapter. This is a 5-pin to TRS converter, but you can get those from any music store. You'll also need an audio cable. This goes from the audio output of your synthesizer to the audio input. And you'll also need a USB cable to connect your MIDI controller to your computer. All right, so first things first, we need to connect the audio output to the audio input of the audio interface. So the Volca FM has a 3.5mm stereo output, and I have a cable here that's going to go into the two audio inputs, 1 and 2. And then I need to connect the MIDI input on the synthesizer to the MIDI output of your audio interface. This is because Ableton Live will be sending MIDI clock via your audio interface into your synthesizer. It's a very important step. If you find that it's not connecting or it's not syncing, make sure you check your MIDI settings and your MIDI connection. All right, turn my synthesizer on. Now I'm going to connect the MIDI controller to my computer. Here's an important lesson for you. Make sure you keep all your cables and your studio nice and tidy so you don't have a mess like I do. So give me 1 second, I'll clean this all up and I'll show you how to connect it in live. So once you have everything set up like I do, there's just a couple more steps to do inside Live to get it all working. First of all, head over to your preferences and make sure you go to your audio settings and make sure you have your sound card set up as your input and your output device. In this case, I've got the Volt 276. So in this case, I'll be able to receive the audio from my synth. Next step, you need to head to the Link MIDI tab. And with the output section for your audio interface, you need to make sure that you have track and sync selected. This means that when you press play in Ableton Live, it will send clock to your synthesizer, meaning that it will play in time with your track. Now over here I have an audio channel set up with the audio input set to receive channels 1 and 2, and the track is armed, so now when I hit play in Live, it will trigger the sequence on my synth. I have a bit of a track set up here, so now all I need to do is I can hit record in a clip and capture some of these performances. What's really great about this is now I can use the effects in Ableton Live to, add some more dynamics and some extra flair to these sounds. So that is really useful. So what if you want to be able to play your synth using an actual MIDI keyboard? That makes perfect sense in this instance with the Volca FM as the keyboard is a little small. Sometimes it's nice to be able to use a MIDI keyboard to be able to play these sounds. And we can do that with an external instrument device. So if I click on this MIDI channel I have set up here, I have an external instrument device loaded from Ableton's instruments. And I have the MIDI set up to send MIDI from the Vault 276 audio interface. And the MIDI is being sent to channel 2. That's the channel that I have the MIDI set to receive on my Korg Volca. And then now I have to determine where the audio is going to be received from. It's going to be coming on inputs 1 and 2. So now when I arm this MIDI track, it will play the sounds from my synthesizer. Obviously, this is really handy as now I can create a clip and play notes in with my keyboard or pencil in some notes into a clip itself to be able to create sounds from my instrument. So I hope this helps, and thanks for tuning in to Noisegate, and we'll see you next time.